Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we recap AEW Revolution and the explosion not heard around the world. We get into Finn Balor versus Adam Cole for the championship. AEW's follow-up, which I have some thoughts on. New Japan Cup, that, and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Drive for Show, Putt for Bro. And driving in his car right now. Hopefully he has a seatbelt on. We have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
Oh, yeah, I got my seatbelt on because I'm driving on expired tags, baby.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's my man. That's my man. You can do that when you look like me and Zach. And sitting to my left, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
We coming out swinging. Allow us to bow our heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 196, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. A couple quick shout outs. Shout out to everybody that listened to the, I don't know, the Owner 2 podcast, IKTOT for short. I appreciate that, the good and bad feedback. I am an artist now, so just be sensitive about the negative feedback. I'm just joking. I appreciate that. Interesting week of wrestling. I'll just say this. We're going to stand and deliver this week. We're not going to have any bullshit sparklers coming out of the side of the mixer, so to speak. We're going to bring the ruckus this week, so sit back and enjoy.
We got a bunch of wrestling to talk about this week. Jason, why don't you tell us about F&B Eatery before we get started?
F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton and Marquette, home of the best smash burger you never heard of. So let's take care of that problem. It's going to start getting nice out there, boys and girls. So it's a good time to get the kids, stretch them legs, get them worn out, get the family fed, take care of mom in all one fell swoop. Calling in, tell them that Banned from Ringside sent you.
Take care of mom.
Yeah, so that way mom ain't got to cook.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. And don't
Jesus
forget about
Christ.
Bill's Beard Company.
I'm the single guy, remember that.
That's the beard shampoo, the beard balm, the beard oil that my wife makes, along with some shower sprays for the ladies, some shower bombs for the ladies. Give me a shout out. Give me a call. Slide into my DMs at BFR Bill. We're selling the shit out of this stuff. There's powder all over my upstairs.
So you might not want to say that.
All the time now. It's not the powder I usually like, but
you might not want to say that either.
Different kind of powders. Without further ado, let's get to that 3 counts.
Please and thank you.
1, 2, 3.
JCB, kick it off.
We're going to jump back to Sunday night. AEW Revolution takes place. We'll just cut to the chase. We all know what the biggest takeaway is, so let's just dive right into the deep end.
Let's do it.
The main event, obviously, was the exploding barbed wire death match between Moxley and Kenny Omega. Obviously, Kenny Omega wins. But then I guess here is where I guess the problems with this match start to come into play. So post-match, after the decision, the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega proceed to start stomping a mud hole into Jon Moxley. I was kind of hoping that we were going to avoid even going down this road where the ring was going to explode. I did see the Terry Funk Cactus Jack match where the finish was very similar to what we saw on Sunday, and that left me disappointed. So when the match ended with about 5 minutes left, I kind of breathed a mini sigh of relief because I thought we were going to avoid it, and unfortunately, that just did not happen. I'll just say this. I don't blame Tony Khan for promoting the shit out of this match. This is what he's supposed to do. That's his job.
Let me cut you off for a second, just so the people know. The ring was supposed to explode. The ring did not explode. It was a very
underwhelming is the word I used.
Underwhelming is.
It was a dud.
Yeah, it was a dud. It was like some sparklers went off. Eddie Kingston came out, covered up John Moxley in a storyline. You know, they've had their problems in the past, but they've been friends forever. He covered them up, and there was no explosion, basically. There were some sparklers.
It was like almost Roman candles without the...
And nobody knew what to do. Okay, Jason, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say Eddie Kingston coming out is a huge component of it because it at least captured my attention and it didn't allow me to walk away just as fast. So, obviously, the countdown goes to 0. I'll call them sparklers for lack of a better word. The sparklers on the 4 sides of the ring go off, and basically that is the exploding ring. Like I said, I don't blame Tony Khan for this. Tony Khan did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. He hyped this up to the point where everybody and their mama was talking about really one of 3 things coming in the Revolution, and this was one of them.
What's your problem with it then?
It's the fact that I think the fans themselves kind of allowed themselves to let their imaginations run freely and literally thought that Daly's place was going to get imploded in some form or fashion. And don't get me wrong, I love AEW. I think it's amazing and it keeps WWE on its toes, and I wish them all the growth. This was just not... If you're not going to do it and do it right, and you said it a lot of times on Sunday night, things were being too cute. This guy was being too cute. This move is too cute. That step was being too cute. Just put the barbed wire around the goddamn ring and just let him go at it. Okay? If you're not going to do it the way it's been done before, where you literally had a more so of an exploding ring, then don't even bother. Okay?
I think there's a little bit of a misconception there because, like, there was supposed to be a larger explosion.
Oh, yeah.
There was a malfunction. It's not like they just pussied out. Like, the fucking thing didn't work. Like, and it was a disaster, but it was like a malfunction. It wasn't like this was the plan. Like, this was not the plan. The plan was for it to be much better.
Yes, I don't think I was never under the impression that it was anything more than a malfunction. I think if I was going to wait for you guys to go, and then I was going to decide whether or not I was going to be, just as a good podcaster, whether I was going to go hard on it or go easy on it. But obviously you guys are kind of splitting the difference. Zach, what was your reaction when you saw it? Or did you hear about it first? Were you watching it live?
No, I was watching it live. I get off early on Sunday, so I was able to watch the majority of the show live. And, the fucking match ruled.
The match ruled.
No argument.
The barbed wire wasn't even gimmicks. Like, it was just like, ugh. And then, Good Brothers were out there for a little while, like too long. It was kind of Bullet Club shit. I can see, like, there's some valid criticism for the finish with them trying to protect Moxley in that way. But the match was great. The psychology of the match was awesome. The storytelling with Eddie Kingston was, like, top notch. And then the fucking fireworks didn't go off. Like, the bombs didn't go off. And it fucking ruined, like, a lot of people's perception of the entire show. Now, a few days have passed, and I've been able to, like, reflect on it a little bit more. And I'm not as disappointed because looking back, I'm like, that was a good pay-per-view. At times it was great. I'm not going to shit on the whole thing because one set of fireworks didn't go off, even though if they would have gone off correctly, we'd be talking about it as like this fucking all-time great match. And it sucks that those guys put their bodies through that, and then it essentially means nothing because it turns into a fucking meme, right? So it's like a tough situation. And I don't know if you guys want to wait till later when we talk about Dynamite, but they are, I think, making the best of a bad situation, which is what you do as a booker, right? The only bummer was Tony Khan, right, in the press conference right afterward, was like, they made some weird decisions. Like, they had the announcers sell it as a big blast, And then afterwards, Tony was kind of saying like, well, we can't kill guys. He was still trying to like maintain kayfabe, and he wasn't just 100% honest like with the press, where he should just been like, yeah, it was a dud. It fucking sucked. Like, sorry. Like, like, if we do it again, we'll do better next time.
So,
but
really, we could have made this whole match probably the 1 count. So, I mean, let's stay here for a minute, because Zach touched on something really important, which is the match was spectacular.
No argument.
It was fucking great. B, I think the storytelling would have been perfect to have Kingston come out and save his boy, Jon Moxley. C, they did a great job, and we can get into the Dynamite part of this. They have recovered as well as they could have. Tony Khan going in there and maintaining kayfabe during whatever the shareholders thing was the next day, or whatever the shoot press
quote unquote
conference,
press conference.
The shoot press conference is. Tony Khan didn't really do any favors. They didn't do himself any favors, but Tony Khan's a new owner. I mean, he's a young guy. He's younger than me. He is, which means, pretty old, but younger than me. And like, he'll live and he'll learn, fucking, he hasn't had to, pay off the cops in a weird Florida town to get a guy out.
We ain't here to bash WWE yet, man.
I'm just
Stick to the script.
I'm just saying he's a young guy that has a lot to learn, and this will probably go a long way towards it. One of my favorite things about this, though, is that this really provides one of those wrestling I remember where I was moments, because it is such a meme that it will live on in infamy as long as any one of those guys involved with this match is alive. The biggest problem, and this is what I was getting to, is that Zach touched on this, is that they didn't have a backup plan. It's live, but it's, there's a 6 or 7 minute delay, or 6 or 7 second delay, in case some of these head gets ripped off or something, where they could have had a contingency plan to just go to black or something. Or they could have had a contingency. I mean, if Don Callis was even better than I already think Don Callis is, Don Callis would have immediately come up with that, his rationalization that he had on Wednesday night in the moment, and been like, you suckers, you guys fell for it,
right,
or X, Y, and Z. It's not the end of the world. AEW has to do better, though. They can't have shit like that going forward. It's fine. They can have this one that, everybody can write it off, and it will be one of those, remember the exploding ring, and
right,
it's going to be a joke forever amongst marks, but they have to be better going forward, and I mean, pretty much, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess that's where the biggest problem is that I was waiting for A, I got B, and it just kind of took away from the match itself. I agree with Two Beer in the sense that time away from it, and I was going to watch the pay-per-view this afternoon. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I think time away from it has kind of made me calm down a little bit and realize that I didn't think it was the end of the world on Sunday. I was just really, really disappointed in the sense that this is where this finish came. I'm not even worried about the length of time about the pay-per-view. A lot of people complain about the pay-per-view was long, and it was a long pay-per-view in comparison to what we've been getting from AEW and WWE.
You know who really thought it was long? Me the next day when I woke up. That motherfucker, that Monday morning,
brutal.
That dude woke up and that dude was like, fuck, that was too goddamn long.
I woke up feeling good. That's another story. Like I said, to me, it's, I guess the biggest problem is that I guess for Tony Khan's, if you have to point a finger towards him, that's what I didn't like. I just wish he'd have just came out and said, hey, we dropped the ball. This is what was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. We're going to move on. And like you said, do better. I will give them.
He's newer to this than anybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. I will give them credit at least in the sense they didn't go the WWE route and bury their head in the sand like they done with just for the Roman Reigns handcuff mishap in the last man standing match against Kevin Owens.
Don Callis' promo on Wednesday night was a class in heel logic. Am I right, Zach? Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, total masterclass. Like, that dude should have a masterclass. And overall, he's just been fantastic in general. But the best part, I mean, like, you talk about a meme, like, whenever Kenny Omega gets down on the ring and says, 69 me, Don. Oh, my God. Like, dude, like, if this thing wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have had that. We wouldn't have had Eddie Kingston and John Moxley as, like, drinking buddies just riffing, their explanation of it, like Moxley's explanation of him having a panic attack and blacking out and, saying he didn't get his scarred hands from playing video games. And then, Moxley joking about, did that box say Acme on it? Just, like, very much, like, self-aware, very much able to poke fun at themselves. And, like, not take it as seriously as a lot of, like, the people I saw on Twitter were taking it.
Oof.
Like, dude, like, it was just, you would have thought, I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't even, like, compare. Like, they acted like this promotion was over.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, like, there was just an accident. Something happened not to plan. The rest of the show was really good. The match was excellent. It's not like, like, I don't want to always compare AEW, WWE, but, I mean, that's what we do. It's not like that ending to Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, right? Like, that was the plan, and
right.
It was god awful. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a really important part when you're comparing the two, because there's no way to not compare the two, right? But when you're comparing, the
booking
two
problems, and then there's malfunctions, right?
Right. The match. I mean, we haven't had a match as good as Kenny Omega versus John Moxley in the exploding ring death barbed wire match. You know what I mean.
Right.
we haven't had a match that good in WWE proper, not NXT, but WWE proper in fucking years.
It's been a hot minute.
Maybe since AJ Cena in SummerSlam is the last great WWE in-ring match, main roster match that I can think of, and that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. That was a really long time. It was a hot minute
ago, yeah.
So, I couldn't have said it more perfectly than Two Beer. Like, the problem with the match between The Fiend and Seth Rollins is that The Fiend took 17 finishers and won, and that was the plan. Perfectly said. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of it like that, and I will give credit where credit is due. That was their plan. This was a mishap. So be it. I'll just say this. It wasn't just, and I'm just going to expand on the rest of the card for a little bit. I guess my next biggest problem is the Dark Order. If there was 10 matches on this card, they were in at least 3 of those matches in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least. Felt like they were in more. I'm surprised there's not a chick in Dark Order, to be honest.
Anna Jay, she's just hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Anna Jay and Tay Conti's kind of ancillary.
Okay, and you're kind of getting to where I was going with this. We needed some sort of direction with these guys. I get that they're over on BTE. I get that. No disrespect to Brody Lee. I know he's passed, but it's been long enough to now we need to start figuring out what the fuck they're going to do. Either Hangman Page needs to get on board and become the leader of the fucking Dark Order, or they need to separate and Dark Order needs to go back to being heels, which would probably be borderline impossible at this point, or be the babyface faction that they're starting to become at this point. They are in too many fucking matches to not have some sort of direction, whether you're going for the tag team titles or the TNT title, or one of you jokers want to be the heavyweight champion. I don't give a shit. Just fucking figure it out. This is gone to the point where now, as the biggest Dark Order apologist on the pod, I've basically done the heel turn on these jokers, and I'm ready to either be like, shit or get off the fucking pot.
Zach, thoughts on the Dark Order?
I like them. They're definitely geeks, right? There's potential in some of them to be serious players, like Jason said, like kind of have some direction. But as of right now, they're comedy geeks, but they're kind of like adorable comedy geeks. They're kind of like the AEW version of The Way, right? Like Gargano, at least is a very serious competitor, and he's like the leader, and he's champion, so that gives them some credibility. But Gargano without that belt, they'd be the same faction, and they'd just be comedy geeks, like taking up TV time. And I don't know, I don't mind it so much, like because they have such little TV time and they have like so few championships and such. It just doesn't bother me as much. Like I'm fine with them kind of just being around. But I mean, a lot of them are good workers. I see a lot of potential, especially in guys like John Silver, to be like breakout stars. But yeah, I mean, it definitely Brody passing through a wrench in the works. So I don't know anymore if it's going to be Hangman. Like I know that they tease it for a long time, but who knows? Like could end up actually being Matt Hardy, right? Like we'll just see how it goes. But I don't know. What else were they in? They were in the Matt Hardy Adam Page match. It was like one of the greatest slingshot clotheslines ever, because he like fell back and they did like the trust fall thing. But what else were they in? I'm trying to think on this card.
They were in the tag team
I missed
battle royal match or whatever. I think they had two.
Home. I missed that whole match.
I think they had two teams in that, and then Matt Hardy.
They did,
and obviously Hangman Page. By the default, you have Dark Order kind of getting involved in that. Which, okay, let's just say they're in two matches, but they
were in more than two matches, because I was sitting across from you, and I kept being like, "How many matches are they in?" Now I was stoned, but it seems like it was more than two.
I thought it was three, but that's just me.
I mean, three is still a lot.
It's a lot.
That's more than Inner Circle. And
Inner Circle to me is the premier faction of AEW.
I don't know. It just seems to me like they've gone through so many iterations in the last year to where they were like dark and spooky, and like they were dressed like the Gimp, and then Brody Lee came in, and then they were kind of like a little bit more organized, and then they were like sympathetic baby faces, and now they're comedy baby faces, and they're just
pick something. Just pick it and go with it. And I don't give a shit what it is.
I've just been,
No, look, I will give you credit. You have been anti-Dark Order. I've been pro-Dark Order. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, look, shit or get off the fucking pot.
Okay. I appreciate the credit.
No, yeah, I know you like to hear you're right.
What do you think about the Young Bucks match?
Go ahead, Tubir.
I saw your tweet. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, like, in my estimation, they're like the greatest tag team I've ever seen in my life.
What was my tweet?
your tweet was just you're like I get it. The young Bucks are good. They're fine. I just don't want to see them anymore. Like you were just like something along those
Oh my god!
Like,
I'm reading it right now.
They don't do anything for me.
And then all caps, nothing. I don't know what kind of mood I was in.
Yeah, I know. He was bringing the heat.
I'd eaten a lot of White Castles.
Don't blame the White Castles now.
There was weed pens everywhere. There was beer. There was shots.
No, don't blame that shit.
Yeah,
that's in your heart.
I rewatched that match today. It was pretty fucking good.
That's great. And see, that's what I'm talking about. See, Sunday, he's over here, God bless Bill, he's over here like, I don't get the Young Bucks. I don't get them. They're just too fucking cute. They do shit that's too fucking cute. And I'm like, well, Bill, this is what tag teams do. They work in tandem. That's why I kind of like the Bucks. One would jump over the top rope, one would jump through the middle rope, and it looks cool and everything. This motherfucker was not having it on Sunday. Not even close. I'll just say this. looking at the time on Sunday, I wasn't a huge fan of the match just because it felt predictable, but the match was still good. But it left Inner Circle in this like little limbo gray area you had going on. They rectified that shit real quick on Wednesday night. And I don't want to jump too far into Dynamite on Wednesday, but I'll just say this. The little disappointment that I had from Sunday, like I said, to me was quickly rectified on Wednesday night. It wasn't the golden prediction that I kept on touting that was going to happen, but this is probably to me the next best bet because now this is where AEW hit the mark. You had all these other guys in a different angle, FTR, Sean Spears, Tully, and Wardlow, obviously, with MJF. So you had these guys with basically going on a different angle. This wasn't the group that I thought was going to come out on Wednesday night, and when they did came out, it kind of took me by surprise, and it was great to see. But I guess my biggest problem with this is that the Inner Circle, to me, is the dominant faction, well, at least up to this point, and the fact that we're even having this discussion, to me, is the problem to itself.
I thought it was a good match. Like, the story of the match was they tried to hit the Meltzer driver, and it kept getting broken up in a variety of ways. And I think you hear JR being so excited whenever MJF had that slobber coming out of his mouth. He's like, it's a slobber knocker. And that was, like, totally meme-worthy. MJF rules. But, you said the prediction, I think, was pretty predictable, or the
finish, yeah,
was pretty predictable.
I will say though that the Young Bucks, they do get fucking cute though, right? Like it's like
that's their whole gimmick.
I'll say this,
yeah, that does. Listen, I like the Young Bucks. I don't love them,
which is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, and probably my other problem with this pay-per-view. The Young Bucks get cute and they execute. A lot of guys were trying to be cute on Sunday night and weren't executing, and it was being very obvious.
That's because they look to the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are, you lead from the top down, right?
No question. And it wasn't just
there's a lot of cute shit that happens in AEW that I wish was a little less cute. Moving on to something that I didn't like at all was the Sting Darby Allin.
I don't even know why I was looking at you like, what's he getting ready to say? Duh.
And I'll just say this. I think it has less to do with the talent involved and more to do with cinematic matches. When Matt and Jeff Hardy, when he introduced the cinematic matches to the TNA universe, they were something completely off the wall, completely unique, and something that at least threw a little bit of a change up into pro wrestling. Now that they've become more commonplace, I would really just rather watch dudes wrestle in the ring. You know, it's the same thing that I would say about last men standing matches and falls count anywhere matches. It's like, well, I don't want to see falls count anywhere. I want to see guys wrestle in the ring. I didn't hate this Sting match any more than I hated other cinematic matches. I think it's just the idea of the cinematic match, and that the way that, you know, not to overuse the word, but the way that they've just gotten a little bit too cute lately, and it kind of makes me retroactively hate all the ones that I've liked before. Zach, tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, it's just like your opinion, man. I
know, but for the sake of the podcast, tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think that this was a very well-executed cinematic match. But, I mean, if they're not your cup of tea, I can totally understand that. I think Sting looked good, and you want him to look good. You know, it showed, you know, and it hides some stuff, right, the cinematic aspect. I did think it was a little bit weird that they had commentary over it. Yeah, because I thought that the graveyard match had a little bit more kind of ambiance with a lack of commentary. And I don't know if you haven't seen the Boner Yard match, that might turn your mind around on a cinematic match. That thing is entertaining as hell. But from talking Chopomania, but
okay. I'm like,
yeah,
what the
like,
fuck?
I thought he was talking about a porn.
Yeah, it almost is. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can you spell that so I can get it right for
I mean, I'd watch
It's
it.
Doc Gallows and Carl
No.
Anderson and the Boner Yard match.
I thought it was Carl Anderson and his hot Asian wife.
She is in the show, but
Oh, good.
No surprise.
it's worth it. But yeah, anyway, like I just had like definite kind of Lucha Underground vibes of like whenever Lucha Underground was like good, just the way that they shot it, and you know I like the intro stuff. Like they made everybody look really cool. It was like I was like happy with it. Like you know, happy with the finish. It did finish in the ring. Sting got to do his move. I kind of marked out. But, you know, I also like that it breaks up the show. People say the show was long. I don't want to pay $50 for something and it be 2 hours long and suck. I want to get my money's worth. And if they want to break up the action, this is a good way to break up the action, right? It's not a popcorn match, but it kind of gives you a different vibe.
I saw Schindler's List at the Dollar Show in 1993, and there was an intermission there.
Oof.
And I paid $1. And I was there for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say Schindler's List is a long fucking movie.
Yeah, I got my money's worth. So where'd that get me?
See, you ain't shit.
Was the intermission for wiping off or what?
That was a great question for a dinosaur.
Fuck, I thought that was still cold-blooded. Give me a cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded is his name. You ignorant. God damn. I lost my train of thought. Sting. I don't have a problem with this match. I had low expectations coming into this because it was Sting. It's a cinematic match. It's just the time to kind of let your imagination run free. Outside of the fact that Brian Cage basically was rolling over everybody, I didn't have a problem with this match. And I'm not saying that Brian Cage shouldn't roll over everybody. He should. I guess if there was a reason why Sting and Darby Allin shouldn't have won this, which there really isn't. I mean, this is Wrestling 101. Sting's not going to come back and lose this first match. I guess Brian Cage.
Unless you're in WWE.
Nigga, don't even get me started.
And he loses to Triple H at WrestleMania. Right.
Anyway.
Wrestling 101.
Well, okay.
I'm just saying.
That's okay.
I know.
This goes back to what Zach was talking about, the difference between AEW and WWE.
No doubt.
WWE brought Sting in. That what was that Survivor Series here in the Lou.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler's probably one of his last great moments where he basically fends off the Authority. The crowd goes nuts. I'm like, man, this is another Dolph Ziggler push. I'm coming out as Scott Trade like, yeah, Dolph Ziggler's getting that next push. Womp, 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 womp.
Nope.
Dolph Ziggler wasn't getting shit.
Still
They
waiting
end up
for
bringing
that.
Sting in, and then the next thing I know, Sting's getting worked over at WrestleMania, for God's sakes. How you gonna let Sting get worked over at WrestleMania? Against Triple H. Like Triple H hadn't lost a match in his damn life at WrestleMania. It was a good time to probably let Sting go ahead and go over at WrestleMania. So that's give AEW credit on that scenario.
Triple H is better.
I don't give a shit if Triple H is better.
Okay, just wanted to put that out there.
Sting?
Yeah, he said it. Okay, I don't care.
That's bonkers.
Uh-oh.
We don't have time to get. We don't have time.
I was getting ready to say, I'm like the Homer Simpson gift. I'm like, let me go ahead and get back in these bushes. This way, get ugly.
Me and Zach never get too far into it.
I'll just say this. I like the match. I like apparently Darby Allin had a nice little hand in this. So if that's the case, I'll give credit where credit is due. Sting looked good. Brian Cage looked great. Ricky Starks looked good in his little, I guess, ATF outfit. The match itself worked. I didn't think it would be as enjoyable as it was, but I found myself kind of getting into it as the match went along. Obviously, Sting and Darby winning is no surprise, but I thought getting from point A to point B was cool.
This is an exact.
Honestly, Brian Cage carrying Darby Allin up a flight of stairs in a vertical suplex is probably the best thing on the show.
Fuck! Yeah. I was just getting ready to read this. I was just getting ready to say this is. I'm showing Jason, so you know I'm not lying. I was just getting ready to say this was an exact text from Vice Sunday night at 9:19. Cage walking that mofo up the stairs in the suplex position was unbelievable.
Okay. I mean, and that to me was more so of a Brian Cage kind of like, you know, hey, motherfuckers, don't forget about me type shit, more so than Sting and Darby Allin winning.
Let's get some other matches. We spent a lot of time on some stuff, but we also had Paige versus Hardy. Right guy went over. Nice middle of the card. Nice middle of the card match.
Probably didn't even need to be on the pay-per-view, but it was a storyline that kind of caught a little traction. Right guy probably went over.
What you think, Zach?
Yeah, it was a totally fine match, and nice happy ending.
The ladder match for the tag teams ends up having Death Triangle, Phoenix, and Pac going over. I think that's the right move. They are certainly the most fun tag team to watch out of the guys that were in there. What did you think, Zach?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that is the right group to win, or the right duo to win, because certainly the most dynamic, certainly the match that I want to see the most, like selfishly, and not to jump too far ahead, but it got us a great curtain jerker this Wednesday as well. So, yeah, totally happy with that.
Scorpio Sky wins the ladder match for the shot at the TNT title. We can. I mean, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about this
without that other thing, and that there's the next thing that I was getting ready to kind of go on.
Go ahead.
I've said it before on this podcast. I don't necessarily mind shit talking. Shit talking to me is fun. I think it brings a little spice to life. You know, it keeps everybody on their toes, and it makes things a little more fun. This brass ring looked like a Sonic the Hedgehog ring from Sega back in the day. I get it. It's a shot across the bow, but I don't think this was even really necessary at this point. This was one of those times where they were just trying to be too cute. We get it. No, we get it. Everybody's going after the brass ring. It's the Vince McMahon, fucking joke. You didn't need that shit. Pick a prop of your choice, hang that sumbitch up, and just go. You don't have to always go after WWE at every fucking turn. And this was a queer shot. For me, it didn't make the mark because it was just that obvious. And it wasn't even funny.
What'd you think, Zach?
It was definitely on the nose. I actually thought of you whenever I saw it. I thought Bill would be like, that's a little cute. But, that was the prediction with Scorpio Sky. And it was a good match. It was a little scary, a little sloppy at times. A lot of these ladder matches are, just by the nature, it's just amazing what these guys can do athletically. But it can get a little scary sometimes. So, but yeah, it was a fun match, and Cody is a goddamn monster for taking that Canadian Destroyer on that ladder. That was cool. That was a cool spot.
That was a great spot. Because I was a little bit more boisterous Sunday night, this kind of turned the pay-per-view. I kind of turned against the pay-per-view at this point because of that brass ring. Like, I remember Joey agreeing with me, which Joey doesn't tend to do all the time, but I remember saying, I would prefer that AEW just kind of pretend that WWE wasn't there, much less give Vince the power of one of Vince's expressions that's been made fun of ad nauseum for at least 25, 30 years, is that the guy's supposed to grab the brass ring and then have the brass ring be what the guy is supposed to grab to get the TNT championship. It really did just seem it just seemed to me like it's all a little too inside. It's all a little too shoot for me. It's all a little too, I'm not even going to say the word, because that's what it was to me. And you have a bunch of guys in there that I mean, you got Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, Cody, Lance Archer, Penta, Max Caster.
Caster was a surprisingly good entrant. I did not think that he would be.
Those are not non-serious wrestling guys, and to have them trying to grab a huge brass ring seemed to me really gimmicky and kind of, I'm not going to be so dramatic as to say insulting or anything, but it didn't have to be that. It could have been, like you said, it doesn't have to be a briefcase either. Just fucking
have the letters AEW hanging on the fucking rail.
Yeah, have it be its own. I don't know. Have it be a fucking folder. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, the brass ring I thought was taking it. Was a shot, obviously, but then it backfires because the main event really kind of makes you look like the quote-unquote minor leagues that AEW haters want you to be.
Well, plus it's like it's a shot across the bow at who? Like, who's the joke for? Is that supposed to insult Vince McMahon? Is it supposed to make us laugh? I don't get who the joke is for. Just fucking have a match.
I think
it distracted from the whole match for me.
I'll say it like this. For me, when I saw it, obviously, I think of Vince McMahon, number one. I think of WWE talent, two, especially those like Cesaro that seemingly have the talent in the world but just can't grab the brass ring. And they just kept hammering, reaching for the brass ring. So, I mean, not only do you have this ridiculously fucking large brass ring that everybody's going after, but commentary is hammering it home. Look at Scorpio Sky reaching for the brass ring. Look, motherfucker, we don't need all that, okay? The fact that you got this is enough. You don't have to then pile on top of it how they're reaching for the brass ring. Go ahead, Two Beer.
I'm pretty sure it's just Adam Page's cock ring. I could be wrong.
Unbelievable.
If your guys' reaction to the brass ring is this, I can't wait till they do the break the glass ceiling ladder match.
Seriously.
I'll say as long as the glass is actual glass, then that's half the start.
Yeah, as long as it's not Kingston, just buddying up next to Moxley. Okay, so speaking of WWE talent, we have to talk about Christian Cage, which is still hard for me to say, but Christian was revealed as the big signee, big Hall of Fame signee,
Hall of Fame worthy
signee that the Big Show was talking about. I really didn't. This was not a disappointment to me. Like, if people were expecting Brock Lesnar, I didn't know until afterwards that people were like, "Oh, we thought it was going to be Brock Lesnar.
Idiots.
We thought it was going to be Kurt Angle.
Idiots." Well, I shouldn't say that. That's me. I say Kurt Angle.
But even if it was Kurt Angle, is that bigger than Christian? Like, it's not. I mean, it's bigger than Christian, but Kurt Angle can't wrestle anymore. Christian certainly can. This wasn't a disappointment to me. Like, people, who else were they expecting?
CM Punk was the next big one, and
there was no. I
don't see that either.
Did it even come up last week during the podcast?
I think we kind of talked about it. I said Rob Van Dam was my guess,
right? But we all kind of landed on it's probably Christian, right?
Yeah, it was probably the safest of the bets. And
I
wasn't disappointed. Were you disappointed, Two Beer?
No, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't over the moon either. I think part of the problem as a whole for this pay-per-view is they kind of overpromised and underdelivered, right? Like, if they wouldn't have said anything and then Christian just came out on the pay-per-view, that's a pop, right? To set it up, 5 days in advance, that's not selling a pay-per-view. I can just be on Twitter and see who the surprise guy is. The match sells the pay-per-view, so I think they should have just had him come out, kind of like Moxley did,
I agree with that. I think that kind of Christian wasn't a bad choice. It was just, once again, you said it best. AEW Revolution overhyped and underdelivered. Christian is going to be a solid addition to this roster. You can go back and see a lot of his singles matches, his feud against Randy Orton is one of my favorite fucking feuds. Even though I hated the one more match premise, they've had some banger ass matches.
Oh, Christian rules. There's no doubt about it.
So if you want to bring that talent over to AEW, I like that, number one. And number two, more importantly, he's not beating Kenny Omega for the title. You're going to set it up to where their paths will cross. They'll have a really good to great match. Omega goes over, and then Christian can fall back to where Sting is, somewhere in the mid card, where then they can start, putting guys over. I don't have a problem with Christian coming over because A, I know he's not going to win the title, and B, chances of getting good matches significantly increase with him being on the roster.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
Maki Ito got a great pop, and it's because nobody expected to see her.
Right.
And she's not even a good wrestler. Like, she's pretty bad at it.
I don't think she's that bad.
But she's really good at being a star.
She's a character.
She's not good at being her. Yeah.
She would be great in WWE.
She got a huge pop.
Yeah, she'd be great in WWE. I don't think that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Her character could get over in AEW.
We got some more Christian stuff coming up because we're going to talk about it on Wednesday night. What were you going to say, Zach?
Oh, I was going to say, I think she'll thrive in AEW, just because, I follow her on social media and stuff, and I don't know. I love her, but it's funny because I usually kind of rate people how I enjoy them as wrestlers through their work rate, and I do not think she's very good, but I love her.
No, she's I liked her in the AEW Women's Tournament, and then on Wednesday when she was at the top of the stage singing while everybody else was fighting, that's when I was like, okay, see, I like this chick.
What are we missing from? We've talked about this pay-per-view for 50 minutes. Are we missing anything? I feel like we covered
didn't
everything.
mention the women's match, but I mean,
yeah, we did. We did miss the Sheeta versus Rio. I thought
goes over.
Arguably could have been a match of the night. I like Moxley versus Omega, even though the finish was absolute horseshit. I just
not the finish to the match, the finish to the segment, the finish to the pay-per-view was horseshit. The finish to the match was fine.
Okay, all right. The finish to the pay-per-view.
If you take away the exploding thing,
if you take away Eddie Kingston running down and all that,
if you just have the
fine.
match, it was fucking spectacular.
Yeah,
it was. I liked it better than their
lights out match.
Their lights out match. Yes,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I was going to say there was a lot of cringeworthy spots in that match, and that to me is half the battle. If you're going to go out and do it like this, there was multiple times where I'm just like, "Ooh, stop! Ooh, stop!"
I should, emphasize that we have more AEW coming into the show, so let's get to that too, Ken.
We should have just clumped it all into one.
Well, we're not. I mean, this is only episode 196. Like, what the fuck do we know? Zach, tell us about the 2 count.
2 count. Let's switch it up a little bit, just because we've been talking about AEW for so long. We'll go to NXT. We had a big announcement. William Regal starts the show.
2 big announcements.
2 big announcements. Yeah. So we're going to get, those of you guys who don't know, we actually are going to get a TakeOver WrestleMania week. It's going to be Wednesday on USA Network, Thursday on Peacock. So it's a 2-day takeover, just like there's a 2-day WrestleMania. And so that's interesting. So have a 2-hour takeover and then a few-hour takeover probably. So that's cool. Takeovers are always great. They were definitely on the nose, right, with their branding with takeover. They were like, they straight up said, like, we deliver, right? It's called, like, stand and deliver, right?
Yeah, that's where I was just like, oh, is this a shot? Is this a shot?
I feel like they had to have that branding beforehand, but it definitely seems like one.
Yeah.
Just, a couple days after that. But they always do. They stand and deliver, So that'll be cool. And then there was the second, very controversial, which I think I'll just let Jason talk about, because as Michael Wallace-Field said on Twitter, we did not talk about the match last week, and we can definitely roll it all into one here. But he brings the women out, he puts them over, and has Raquel and Dakota come out and say, you won the Dusty Championship, and you guys are now the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. And so they celebrate, and then they get in a match with Shotzi and Ember, and they promptly lose them.
God damn, man. I mean,
Yeah,
come on, dog.
they
Seriously?
look like total nerds. I mean, well, Dakota looks
Dakota Kai is taking the biggest hit of them all, because obviously she takes the pin one, but then, like you said, they just got these motherfuckers. Okay? I mean, it wasn't even like 20 minutes. At the top of the show, they awarded the titles to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I'm like, okay, that's great. It's a little anticlimactic, but, whatever. They're the champs. We'll move them to the takeover, whatever the case may be. So let's rewind the tape to last week for 30 seconds. That tag team match last week obviously had multiple problems, not to mention the fact that Adam Pearce oversteps his bounds, calling in referees. The wrong woman got pinned. Okay. And then I can't think what the third thing was, but it was really like 3 big fucking fuck ups on that, to the point where it made me literally roll my eyes by the end. I didn't even want Shayna and Nia on the screen anymore. Just ship them back to SmackDown or Raw, wherever the fuck they're going to go, and let them go. You've already fucked this one up enough. Screw the pooch. This one was even worse. How in the blue hell are you motherfuckers going to give the titles to the winners of the Dusty Cup without even having like a match first? I get you had this whole tournament, and probably you can't have a match to have, the winners get the championships. But that could have been like the easiest solution to get out of this. Not only did you give them the titles, you had the same team that they beat come down and challenge them again. Let's run it back. So that's like some old fucking Raw shit with the Hurt Business and fucking New Day. Oh, we fucked up the finish, so let's just run it back and let's have another match. At least they had the decency to separate the two matches. And then on top of that, the kicker. Wrestling 101. The champs can't lose the first title defense. And what do you have them do? They take the L just so you can have Raquel Gonzalez face Io Shirai at TakeOver, more than likely. You could have did all that and not even have Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai win the titles. They have royally fucked this up so bad that I look at Shotzi and Ember kind of like, yeah, good job, y'all the champs, but damn, y'all should have been champs. They should have been the champs off the jump. Have the one match, winner wins the titles, instead of giving the titles to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I didn't like that, but you really didn't have much of a choice because you booked yourself in that corner, and then you have them lose. Man, what kind of shit is that?
Yeah, they didn't do a good job of establishing these titles
not at all
as anything worthwhile.
No. All you're basically saying to me now is that you're getting ready to start hot-shotting this shit, which is fine. At least I know ahead of time not to take this shit seriously.
That's such a leap. That does not bother me at all. Doesn't bother me.
Dude, are you serious right now?
No.
Oh my God.
I mean, yes, I am serious.
And it's one thing when it happens, like, it's the first defense of the belt as a whole. It's one thing when it happens, like, due to injury, like, Finn Balor, messed his shoulder up, first Universal Champion. That dude hasn't smelled red leather in, like, 3 years. Like, now he's the NXT champion, and we love him every single week, but he was never once back in that Universal picture just due to that injury. That's one thing, out of his control. But these are the first belts, and you're just automatically telling us that they pretty much mean jack shit.
Defend it.
I don't have to. Do I have to defend it?
Yeah.
Or do I have to just say that it doesn't bother me? Like it.
Why does this not bother you?
Would it have bothered you less if they would have just said, if you win the Dusty Cup, you have the belts, and then they lost in their first?
But there's
the problem is that Regal just crowned them
number one
belts at the beginning of the show, and then they lost it.
This is the week before because we didn't talk about it last week. Okay, Adam Pearce has shit to do with NXT, but then all of a sudden he's going to start calling down referees because the initial referee got bumped and he can't perform. That's not his job. That's Regal's job. Regal should have been the
that
one.
William Regal, Adam Pearce for the Takeover Stand and Deliver. It's going to be a last man standing match.
No. Okay, don't
last manager standing.
No.
Last general manager standing. Actually,
No.
I'd watch Adam Pearce versus William Regal.
Oh, dude, don't put that out in the air like that. They got 2 days to fucking fill. You know that's going to be a fucking match.
They're both younger than Sting.
Some Karen wanders into the ring demanding to speak to the manager, and that's how the finish happens.
Dude.
Oh, that's great.
I like what we're doing here. I just don't care that much.
Dude, I'm sorry.
I guess so. You're right. You would say like Bill said, like it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't make me like mad. It doesn't like change my life at all. It's just like one of those things where I'm like, well, this show that I spend 2 hours every week looking forward to watching could be better, and it wouldn't be that hard.
No. Like,
but it doesn't bother me.
But they're brand new belts, and they can always be built back up. They can always mean something later. They can. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter to me because, like, there's children dying in Bangladesh. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me as much as some other things bothered me on this show or on AEW Revolution or on AEW Wednesday night, for instance. But like I only have so much anger to put towards wrestling, and I certainly do put a lot of it towards wrestling. This part,
I usually put like 90% of it into myself, so it's hard for me to get mad at wrestling.
I'm sorry. I think this is just absolutely bullshit. This is poor logic and poor booking all rolled into one to now where I feel bad for Dakota Kai because, like I said, she feels like the scapegoat in this whole thing.
All right, well, let's see if you like this a little bit better. What about Io Shirai versus Toni Storm for the belt?
If there was a time to pull the trigger on Toni Storm to win the title, this is probably it.
She's not over yet. She's not over in America yet. It's confounding. I agree. It's confounding, but she has not found her character yet. She has not. She certainly shouldn't be taking away the belt from Io Shirai at this point.
So Raquel Gonzalez is the next best choice?
Fuck no. Io Shirai should win that too.
I guess that's kind of my point. Io is basically running through this division to where now, if there's a title change that probably could be happening, I'd rather have Toni Storm be the champion versus Raquel Gonzalez. No knock against Raquel Gonzalez. I think she's going to be a big star on NXT just down the line. This is the Toni Storm time to make this shit happen because now she's lost. So now what do you do with Toni Storm?
Send her back to the UK.
Psst, dude, stop.
See you, bitch.
Like dude.
What do you think, Zach?
I was super surprised that they didn't put Toni over just because Io's had it for so long.
They didn't not only put her over, she tapped out. She lost via submission.
Yeah, she's a heel at least, so that doesn't bother me as much as if she was a babyface. But her just not winning,
tapping out is tapping out.
You know, you said like you said, she's not over in the States. I think the belt could help her get her over. If she's not, like, I think the belt could do that because he has had it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
That belt does mean something. And before that, it was Shayna Baszler who had it for a very long time. And before that, it was Asuka, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, who had it forever. Like, that belt.
Sprinkle in Ember Moon.
Those are the last three?
Ember Moon has a run there. She won it after Asuka went to the main roster, and then Shayna wins the belt off of Ember.
That's an insane lineage.
So, I mean, I guess that's kind of my point in this scenario. Toni Storm might not be over in your eyes, but I think, like Two Beer said, if you put the belt on her and let her do like a 6-month run, she now starts to, for those who don't know who Toni Storm is, now you know. But like I said, with this L and especially the tap out, I'm not saying it's back to the line, but it's going to be a little bit before we see Toni Storm back in the title picture again.
Fair enough. We had LA Knight and Bronson Reed had a backstage segment. They're having a match next week. We can talk about them next week. We had Pete Dunne versus Jake Atlas in a very exciting, a very entertaining 5-minute match. No doubt. I thought that Atlas looked as good as you can look in a 5-minute loss. Dunn cuts a promo. What you think about this, Zach?
I wish it would have been on the Hulu version because that sounds awesome. Those guys can both work great. So maybe it'll be on YouTube since it's like such a short clip. Maybe they'll put the whole thing.
It was.
There is that.
Yeah, it was short, but it was fun.
No, I think the promo was the. I kind of think we glossed over the 2-day takeover, so I'm gonna jump on that first to kind of answer that next question. The 2-day takeover, I'm not a huge fan of it off the jump because I think takeover itself is special, and I think we've kind of gotten to a point where the three of us agree that less is more when it comes to takeover. I don't necessarily think that 2 days of takeover is necessarily the move. I don't think you have the talent to do 2 takeovers and have them both be successful. Now, that said, I think here's where takeover kind of, I don't know, if you want to try to stretch takeover out to a second day, this is a match to do it. I don't think you necessarily need to do 2 days with this. That's just me. I'm kind of stuck on this 2-day takeover thing because, like I said, WrestleMania 2 days, WWE proper is a huge roster, and you need all this time to get everybody time to get on the card. Takeover is different, man. A lot of these matches you probably could have just waited for Takeover to do and just been done with it. This felt like a lot of this was rushed, and it's going to probably hurt these 2 days of takeover moving forward. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess.
Imperium cut a promo after this, and I was surprised to learn that the members of Imperium that aren't Walter don't have accents. But they decided to invite Timothy Thatcher back to their group, and they decided to let Timothy Thatcher ask Ciampa if it was okay with him. A very strange promo. Ciampa and Thatcher had a thing going on later on where Ciampa said, I'm not worried about those guys. I'm worried about their general who's back across the sea. That's the guy I'm worried about, which got me very excited as Zach would say, I was hard.
No, I don't think that's what he would say.
Well, you know what he'd say something funnier.
Zach, help this man out.
What would Zach say?
Something like half-mast.
I felt it move a little.
Standing at attention. I don't know. Ciampa versus Walter at TakeOver sounds exciting. Now, that being said, Ciampa versus Walter at a TakeOver with only 5 matches sounds a lot more exciting. But I kind of feel like the 2 days of TakeOver thing is like when you have a really big gin and soda with a lime and a splash of squirt in it, and it's the summertime and you're outside with your friends and you're just kind of drinking it, even though there's like a pint of gin in it. It gets down pretty low and there's no more ice in it. And then
it's straight gin.
Somebody comes over and they're like, hey, like the host comes over and they just put all the ice back into it. And it's still a drink. It's just not as good of a drink. That's how I feel about 2 days of TakeOver.
That's a great analogy.
No, I don't have a
makes
problem with
gin
that.
squirt.
Well, that's his thing.
Gin and squirt, summertime. That's a summertime drink, bro.
Oh, great.
I guess I'm going to have to wait and see how these matches unfold. I just don't think they have enough matches to do 2 days of TakeOver.
But Walter Ciampa.
Well, oh yeah, when
sounds
when Ciampa said it was like row.
Now Walter has had 2 of the Match of the Year candidates for BFR at the Beefers in the last 2 years.
Agreed.
Ciampa versus Tyler Bate, and then last year Ciampa versus
Walter versus Tyler Bate.
Sorry, Walter versus Tyler Bate, and then Walter versus Ilyanov?
Dragunov.
I think I was the one that nominated that one.
It's a good match.
Walter versus Ciampa. I mean that could also be a Match of the Year candidate.
The thought of it makes me a little half-staff myself.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I'm not holding my breath. If Walter was going to come over, I guess this might have been the time to do it because Jordan Devlin is coming over. And we can get into that in 30 seconds.
We're getting ready to.
I just think that if this is going to happen, it's going to happen pretty soon because, I mean, shit. What is it? The 7th of April is the first day, or the 6th or the 7th? I mean, we're basically like 3 weeks away.
April 7th, April 8th.
Walter needs to be getting over here so we can make that build. If not, then let's not even tease that unless this is going to be months down the line.
And we're going to have to figure something out for the podcast, too, because if the second one is on Thursday.
You know that's going to be a night.
He's heating up.
What? I didn't even say anything.
I didn't even do it.
Why is everybody picking on me?
Jordan Devlin, you saw I didn't even do that.
No, the court hit it.
Jordan Devlin cuts a promo, says he's coming after Escobar. So we're going to have Jordan. If we don't have Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar to find out who the true Cruiserweight champion is, I would be very surprised. If we're doing two-night TakeOver, it should only
This better be on TakeOver.
Well, yeah, it will be. But it should only be 5 matches a night, right? So 10 matches total.
Yeah.
This is a match that I would very much so be looking forward to. What do you think about it, Zach?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't? So, yeah.
That's some really great analysis. What do you think, Jason?
This is
Sorry,
like no,
I'm distracted.
no, you're fine. This is like UFC type shit. You know what I'm saying? You have the interim Cruiserweight champion in Santos Escobar, who's done a really good job keeping the bar going, versus who I would consider the true Cruiserweight champion in Jordan Devlin, who just got caught up in 2020 like most of us did. I guess my only problem with this, and I was kind of having this debate last night on Twitter, Jordan Devlin was obviously a part of this speaking out movement, and the fact that he and others are
On the wrong end of it.
on the wrong end of it, more so, I guess that's the better choice of words, being the accuser, or I'm sorry, the accused versus the accuser. I want to really get into this match, but a part of me is kind of is holding back because of what has happened with Jordan Devlin in the past. Well, I think the match be great. Fucking yeah, I think this match is going to be great. I just, like I said, a part of me has a problem with this because of what has happened in the past and the fact that you have Jordan Devlin, Matt Riddle, other guys, Austin Theory, that have kind of survived their speaking out movement, and Velveteen Dream, God bless him, you can't find him anywhere close to NXT at this point. Maybe he comes back at this 2-day takeover event, but it just seems a little, I guess, disingenuous in the sense that you have certain guys that have survived it. Joe Coffey have survived speaking out, and Velveteen Dream hasn't. I'm not making this black or white. It probably seems like I'm making this black or white because the white guys are coming back to TV, the black guy isn't. It was just an interesting conversation that we were having, a debate of who's still on TV and why they're on TV and why Velveteen Dream isn't.
Yeah, I mean, the Dream, I think his situation was minors. I don't know about all the other people. I think it was just being shitty towards women in a variety of ways.
Okay, so I guess
there's a possibility there. I'm not saying it is.
No. I guess here's my question: to me, one is no different than the other. They're both equally bad. Minors going after minors in DMs might be a smidgen worse, but they're both things that I wouldn't want to. There's things that I wouldn't want to have on my resume, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that on my resume.
I wouldn't want either thing on my resume.
really good at grooming minors.
Yeah, or good at stalking women when they're not looking, or something like that. To me, that both are bad, but for whatever reason, Velveteen Dream, his accusations haven't been proven, and then on top of it, he's still off TV. We've talked about Velveteen Dream multiple times on this, and I think we can agree upon this assessment. Not having Full Sail behind him has hurt Velveteen Dream, at least character-wise. I think he has talent in the world. We can all agree upon that. I think part of the reason why, and I said it last night, he lost his luster is that he's a character kind of driven kind of guy. So you need fans behind him to kind of make him bigger than life. And he doesn't have that.
All this has happened during the pandemic, though. Like, it is impossible for us to even try to, predict how Full Sail would have reacted to those allegations.
Yeah.
I mean, the speaking out thing happened entirely during the pandemic, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
That's why it's funny that they leave some of these guys off TV, because if they're going to keep them on, obviously we're just waiting for the heat to go down. Well, now there's no fans and they can fake reactions. Like, they can bring them out and pump cheers, and like, now's the time to do it.
I mean,
before you actually get fans.
And I doubt that a lot of fans will remember most of this stuff when they come back. But they have kept Velveteen Dream off. Velveteen Dream was hot for a while. I mean, hot. Like, he was
Velvet Underground now.
He was
the loss to Cole was kind of like
Velvet above ground.
Yeah, right. But then lost to Cole in that takeover or whatever. I want to say it was almost back-to-back losses. One that was on TV afterwards, and then the one on takeover. To me, was basically the start of the decline of Velveteen Dream, and we really haven't seen too much of him since.
All right. Do we want to talk about the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Legado del Fantasma? Even though it didn't take very long, MSK came out acting like they were Fandango.
Brizango. Shit, I was about to say Tiger Breeze was there.
All right, sorry. Brizango. Both tag teams that I like. Do we want to talk about this? I thought it was a weird segment.
Wasn't on my version. I think we skipped to the main event, which was awesome.
Let's skip to the main event. Adam Cole versus Finn Balor in a killer match. Takeover worthy match. It was an Adam Cole specialty, which means that a lot of finishers were kicked out of.
Oh, stop, man. Come on.
I'm not even hating on it. I like it in Adam Cole matches.
No, you're hating on it.
No, I'm really not. I'm really not hating on it. No,
William Vagey. You're going to sit here and look at me, and how many times have we had this conversation about kicking out of finishers and how you don't like it, and how I'm starting to agree with it more and more as time progresses. Get off our lawn type shit, and now all of a sudden it's okay because it's Adam Cole.
A lot of finishers.
A lot of finishers. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Just stick to the script, motherfucker. Damn.
But it is very entertaining.
Without question. But I think that's why they do it. But there are certain times it goes a little overboard and it hurts finishers too.
Zach, what do you think about the match?
It's like having multiple orgasms instead of just one.
And that's bad. How?
Yeah, they're kicking out of finishers because you get that pop every time.
I got a 24-hour turnaround time, guys.
We say this plane has landed. We are not leaving this ground for another 24 hours. We need to get this choker hose down.
I'm in my refractory period, okay? Let me have a couple sandwiches.
Yeah. There is no refractory period with these matches, but it was awesome. Like, if this was the main event of NXT every week, oh my God, that would be amazing. Even if it was just those two guys, like, just keep doing it. It wouldn't get old for a long time. But
fucking great.
Yeah, it was good.
No, I like this in the sense that this is the only match of the 3 title matches that I didn't have a huge problem with it because it actually sets up the 2 night of TakeOver. Obviously, Kyle O'Reilly comes out, looks like a fucking badass, a psycho badass where, Adam Cole is getting ready to get this work. So you got that and on one of the nights, and obviously the match that we've been kind of looking forward to, and to a certain degree, Karrion Kross, the guy that hasn't lost the title, versus Finn Balor, the guy that won the title after Karrion Kross lost it and has been running amok since. So I like that. I like this match because, like I said, it sets up the 2 days of TakeOver. It's the only of the 3 title matches that I didn't have a problem with it. But once again, a little predictable, but nonetheless, solid-ass match.
First of all, Adam Cole looks so much more comfortable as a heel.
Yeah.
Not saying he's a bad face, because he's not a bad face. There are guys that are bad faces.
There's women that are bad faces. There are women that are bad heels.
Yes, and Adam Cole is not one of them. Adam Cole's a good face, too.
He can do face, but he's much more comfortable as a heel. You can see it.
I would say, man, I don't even like saying this.
Say it. Say it.
I think he's a better overall wrestler than Seth Rollins.
I think you're right.
Really?
I don't think that Seth
They're
Rollins.
the same
I don't think Seth Rollins can do face as well. And
So we're talking the whole package. We're talking
I'm just talking the whole package. I think Adam Cole does face better than Seth Rollins. They both do heels equal. Maybe
kills him in promos.
He kills him in promos.
Adam Cole crushes Seth Rollins in promos. Let's just put that.
So you're with me and Zach. But man, okay. So
yeah.
to get back to it, Adam Cole looks so much more comfortable coming out as a full-fledged heel, doing this whole entrance with the boom, dun 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 dun. You know, he wrestles better as a heel, if you ask me. Finn Balor was great in this match. This was a perfect match for one that you expected some sort of shenanigans at the end, which you did. You had to know O'Reilly was going to be making some sort of entrance.
If not during the match, after the match.
Right, and as a pure babyface, he didn't actually interfere in the match. He just kind of showed up. Hey
buddy.
AC, what's going on?
What the fuck?
The only problem I had, and this is really nitpicking, but
that's what we do.
It's our podcast. We can nitpick. Is that I didn't like when Finn Balor was standing in the ring and then said, "What took you so long?" And then the camera panned to Karrion Kross, because that's the kind of moment that can't happen in an arena with tons of fans in it, right? Because the fans would start going crazy once Karrion Kross. Now, I understand when there's no fans there, they can try other things, and I do appreciate them trying other things. I don't hate it. It just wasn't my favorite. I would have rather that he came out of nowhere, the crowd would have started going crazy. But this is just me lamenting the fact that there is no crowd.
Two Beer, you want this? You want me to go?
No, you go ahead.
I'll refer to Moxley versus Omega, since it's been kind of the running theme of the podcast up to this point. When Moxley came in to attack Kenny Omega first to set up their lights out match, you still heard the crowd anyway. So I don't necessarily think that it's that big of a deal. Do I agree with you? Yes, I agree with you. The crowd would have probably gave it away. But I still like the fact that you went tight up on Finn, and then he was like, "So what took you so long?"
It was dramatic. It was artistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in that scenario, I like that. I like that more so than the fact that Karrion Kross was probably going to be coming up anyway, and the crowd would have gave it away. That to me was more so. That reminded me of when Mox came out and attacked Kenny Omega the very first time, where it was tight on Kenny Omega, and then it zoomed back, and all of a sudden you see Mox coming out of the fucking ground or whatever, like the boogeyman, and I'm like, oh shit, it's on. To me, it was the same thing. It just lost a little luster because you didn't have the fans behind it. And I totally agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree with the fact that it was bad. It just lost a little luster.
Zach, anything to add?
No, I've got an appointment to get my pubes braided that I'm going to be late for if we keep going.
Okay, let's keep going then. Do you mean right now or later?
No, it's in half an hour.
Half an hour. Let's keep going.
Fine. Yeah. I've got time to condition.
All right, Phoenix versus Matt Jackson. Go, Zach.
Yeah. Match ruled. I need to go back and look and see if it was as good or better than the Nick Jackson Phoenix match. I feel like the Nick Jackson Phoenix match was better.
I thought it was too.
I mean, they're both just like great. I think Nick Jackson's like low key one of the best wrestlers like around. Like not even low key. I know he's part of the Young Bucks and all. There's AEW tag team champs, like great tag team. But I'm just talking about just as a wrestler himself is so good. Bill has no idea which one I'm talking about, but the one that didn't wrestle tonight. So.
No. I was about to say we took 5-10 good goddamn minutes, and I was like, that's Nick. That's Matt.
Did you have some flashcards?
No, he's like, which one is which? Which one is which? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! How many weeks do we go over this? Nick has the headband. Matt doesn't.
Yep, but this was a really good match, and totally set up the title match. Phoenix goes over, especially after he lost like just last week. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago against Archer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'll go this far. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Nick versus Pac next week in some form or fashion, or even 2 weeks from now. I know they ran out like 3 or 4 matches for next week, but I think we'll get that match. Yeah, I was going to say that's the match I'm kind of looking forward to, and that's not even a knock against Ray Phoenix, because obviously for me, Phoenix or Pac are both great. They're just great in different ways or whatever. Nick Jackson is the better of the two Bucks in singles. So if you wanted to put Nick versus Pac, I'm good for that. Nick versus Ray Phoenix, I'm good on that too. The match itself, like I said, was good, and it's going to probably ultimately set up a Death Triangle Young Bucks match, and then the winner gets SCU, which has been the running storyline on AEW Dark for a while, where SCU is going to stay together until they lose their next tag team match. So, I mean, their next tag team match, obviously, is going to be the winner of Bucks versus Death Triangle. So, basically, like I said, they'll be facing the champs. So, that'll be a nice, interesting fork of the road, whether or not they give the titles to SCU and let them run with it, or they break them up afterwards. But just to focus on the match was good. I like the fact that we're teasing a possible singles down the line between Nick and Pac. But Phoenix is the shit. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. I'm a little disappointed that we're not seeing more Phoenix in singles, but I mean, he's so talented. I'll just take him on TV anytime I can get him.
How can you be disappointed though? We saw him last night in singles.
No, I mean like singles moving forward versus him and Pac being in this tag team.
Well, Penta called out Cody last night after Cody squashed Seth Gargis.
Sounds right. Gargis.
Yeah. So after Cody squashed him, Penta called him out. Cody went from 0 to 100. Once Penta said, "You won't be able to hold your daughter."
Okay, game on, nigga.
Which is more making fun of Cody's arm than making fun of the daughter. But I guess, like, Cody had to know that he's in wrestling.
Okay, I was about to say, come on, man.
I'm saying kayfabe style.
Kayfabe style.
Cody had to know that he was going to go after him somehow. Like, why does he get so mad about saying you can't hold your daughter? Why not just be like, yeah, I think I will be able to hold my daughter.
Dude.
I think it'll be okay.
Two Beer, as a father, can you talk to the impending father on why Cody reacted as this way? I know why he reacted.
I think Bill's in a better position to explain it than I am, because I'm a father of 3 kids, and like between 18 and 8, and he's just a few months from being a father for the first time, just like Cody. So he's in the same position.
I'm saying if you're gonna, thank you. I can't wait to see you Father's Day.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm saying if somebody came up to me and said, I'm going to beat you up so bad, you're not going to be able to hold your new daughter, I would be like, well, I would be like, no, you're not. It's like
Oh no! Excuse me, sir. Can you pass the Grey Poupons? No, you're not, my good man. I will see you at dawn with pistols. Get the fuck out of here, man! Come on.
It's not an insult to my daughter. It's just an insult to my arm,
dude.
I'll be able to handle it.
The two guys on this podcast that are married, one with kids, one on the way, are the least offended than the guy that has no kids, no girlfriend, no ex-wife. No nothing. I'm more offended about this than you guys are. That's unfucking.
It's just not something that would make me angry.
Wow.
I mean, if he said
it's a good thing that Aaron does not listen to any of this.
No. I think you're getting it wrong. If the person were to say something terrible about my child or my wife, then I might get angry. But or
if he said that I had like feminine hips, I would get really upset.
Right. But all Penta said was, I'm going to hurt your arm so bad you can't carry your daughter.
Your firstborn child on the planet Earth. Wouldn't you like to hold your daughter or son?
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous that it's dumb. Like, you can just lay a baby on the chest. It's just...
Man,
listen,
okay,
you
heard that right. You heard that right. 196, we're going to start laying Bill's unborn child whenever that comes out on the chest and see how that works out.
Hey, take it easy.
Okay, there
Stop
you go.
About my unborn baby.
There you go. That's the fire I want to see.
Oh, man, I want that drop. You can just lay a baby on a chest.
No, baby's on the chest. It'll be fine.
We're naming that baby Cornelius Two-Beer Baby. We had then a super weird segment with the best, with what's his face, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. I had a dream about it weirdly where I was in an arcade.
Mm.
Then we had Sting come out.
Come on, man. You can't gloss over the fact that Lance Archer came out. At least there's that tease.
Oh, I liked Lance Archer. I love Lance Archer, man. I'm a big Lance Archer guy. But I really didn't...
Lance Archer's a big Lance Archer guy.
I like Lance Archer. I won't lie. I'll just say this. I'm not sure how far Lance Archer and Sting goes, if it goes anywhere. I think this is more so about Lance Archer and less about Sting.
It's actually going to be Jake the Snake versus the Stinger.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm joking. Jake can't even hardly walk.
Dude can sting. Okay, we've already talked about Omega and the Good Brothers. Okay, so let's talk about this segment here, Zach. We'll talk like adults here because Jason's gone. So Kenny Omega and Good Brothers and Don Callis come out, and as aforementioned, they do a great job of basically working the botch that happened at the end of the pay-per-view the other night, right? And then Eddie Kingston comes out. They make fun of Eddie Kingston. The 69 Me Callis, or 69 Me Don, will live forth in infamy for the rest of eternity because it was so ridiculous. I know that a lot of people didn't like it. They thought it was a bridge too far. I didn't hate it.
Oh, man, it was great.
I thought it was...
I popped.
Yeah,
made me wish my name was Don.
I thought it was funny also. Moxley came out and defended Eddie Kingston. Once the brawl was going, Christian came out and kind of walked down slowly and then got in Kenny Omega's face. Zach, are we looking forward to a Christian Kenny Omega match?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a pay-per-view headliner, and I don't think Christian's going to take the title from him, but I feel like it would be an amazing barometer to show that Christian can still work because he looked really good in that Royal Rumble, and I mean, that's a Royal Rumble. It's a little bit different. It's not like a long singles match, but I mean, he's a great worker, and he still looks like he's in good shape. So, I mean, why not?
Okay.
I mean, Kenny Omega on a big Wednesday night, not pay-per-view, just like to go up against TakeOver,
okay.
On that Wednesday show.
That's fair. That's fair. If it's not a big pay-per-view match, and you know what? Dynamite has done a good job of having big matches that aren't pay-per-view matches.
Winter is coming.
Yes.
Yeah, Beach Break.
Jason, what
Coming was way better though.
what I'll ask you is, how is this different from TNA? And I'm not saying that it's the same as TNA, but
No, it does have its parallels. I mean, it would be foolish to say otherwise. Why I think this is different than TNA is because the veterans aren't running the roost. You do have your veterans on this roster, obviously, but especially after last night's, I was going to say Impact, but Dynamite or whatever, one of the biggest veterans in Chris Jericho, they basically got mollywopped at the end of the show or whatever the case may be. Sting feels like he's kind of almost a Darby Allin sidekick. He's not going after the title. Even if Christian does go after the title, I think this is the scenario where, like you guys said, this is going to be on a Wednesday night where it's putting Kenny Omega over. Kenny Omega gets over while Kenny Omega goes over while Christian gets over, and Christian can kind of fall back into the fold. Kenny Omega can move forward to the next world title matchup.
But let me ask you this. So Christian right now is 47, right?
He's 47? Jesus. He's my age.
He is 47. So
I know he can go there. Shit, he might take Kenny Omega's punk ass. I'm joking. Go ahead and answer the question.
When TNA began and Kevin Nash made his TNA debut in 2002, he was 43.
Apples and oranges.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it apples and oranges?
Look at the two guys. I think honestly, and I'm not saying it to defend AEW. I think that if you look at the two guys, look at the two styles. Kevin Nash is going to take a little more physical punishment, at least on joints, on bones, to where his movement is not going to be the way it could be, or maybe it should be in certain scenarios. Christian has always, and a lot of people, Christian, his best run was not in WWE. It was in TNA. Him and Kurt Angle had their best matches in TNA, and people don't remember it or they've never seen it. Go back and take a look at some of those matches in TNA. You tell me you can't see Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage having a good-ass match on a Wednesday night.
No doubt I can see Christian and Kenny Omega have a great match, but like, I thought the point was that they were supposed to be different from WWE. They were supposed to be.
They are being different.
New stars.
If Christian beats Kenny Omega, then let's start talking. Darby Allin's a new star. Scorpio Sky's getting ready to start getting built up.
I'm not saying
I didn't even know who Orange Cassidy was until AEW came around.
Sure. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Okay, but
I want you to prove it to me. Like I'm one of those idiots that you talk to on Twitter. Okay.
Here's one of my biggest problems with that kind of argument is that if people leave WWE, they're not supposed to go to Impact or AEW or go over to New Japan. Once you leave WWE or they're done with you, that's it. Go home and pack it up. No, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Put food on the table, keep moving, keep grinding, and do the thing that you love. I'm not mad about anybody going from WWE to AEW. My biggest problem with this whole battle or war, whatever you want to call with it, is guys like Goldberg. Goldberg has no business, especially against The Fiend. Zero business beating The Fiend.
If AEW could sign Goldberg, would they?
Probably not. I think they would go, if you wanted to get one or the other, you would probably go Lesnar first, Goldberg second. But if you want,
not Lesnar Goldberg, it's Goldberg Christian.
I think they got the right guy there. I'll go that far.
But who would they go for? Because Goldberg ain't going to AEW. But in a perfect world, let's ask Zach.
There you go.
Zach,
I
if
think
AEW, if you think AEW had their druthers, who would they take, Goldberg or Christian?
Oh, like in between the two of them, Christian, because Christian looks like he still has gas left in the tank. Goldberg's there to pop one pay-per-view. You can get more mileage out of Christian and have him put some guys over.
See, Shaq, that's all I'm going to say.
You guys are fucking kidding yourselves.
No, I'm not. Why? I'll just say this. You got Goldberg and Sting. If you want to put somebody over and start running everybody down, there's your guy. Sting is not coming in and doing what they've had Goldberg do. Goldberg came in and beat Kevin Owens. He comes in a year later and beats The Fiend, both for titles. It's not like all of a sudden, we dropped him into a match and then, we built it up. It's like, okay, I know you've been gone, but come on back. Face one of the hottest guys in Kevin Owens that we built up. That John Cena fucking feud was magic. They built Kevin up so good. And the next thing you know, here comes fucking Goldberg just to set up Goldberg and Lesnar. You could have done that without having Kevin Owens.
You're looking in my eyes. You're saying this. I know you're trying to get me worked up.
No.
I'm spent on all this. You know how pissed off I am about all this.
Okay. That's the difference between AEW and WWE. I don't have a problem with Christian coming in because I know in my heart of hearts he's here to get guys over, get Kenny Omega moving to the next feud, the bigger feud, whether it's Moxley or Pac or somebody else versus what WWE does.
I'm not trying to be one of those guys that's like, I'm playing devil's advocate, but actually believe what I'm saying. I'm actually playing devil's advocate.
Beer's
shit.
going up the nose. Yeah,
That was a great question for a dinosaur.
Oh, damn, that went up my nose. Okay, we're good.
What I was trying to say is, look at, you can see the lines.
It's like the beer's coming out of his nose.
What I was trying to say is, Kenny Omega could fight all sorts of guys that we want to see. Having him fight Christian might sound like a dream match, but it also sounds very, I guess, pro wrestling, where it's a young guy versus the old guy. It can be a great match, but the outcome is already determined.
Okay, so what? On Impact, you're going to have Swan versus Moose for the Unified Impact title. The winner gets Kenny Omega. That's why I'm not mad about this whole Christian thing.
That's exciting to me.
Okay, that's why I'm not mad about this whole Christian thing. To me, the Christian thing is the bridge to get to this bigger.
Is that actually happening?
That's happening.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so on Tuesday on Impact Wrestling.
Did you know that, Zach?
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Okay.
You fucking Mark.
No, you need to watch more Impact Wrestling. Shit, just go to the end.
Kenny wins.
I watched so much
Kenny
wrestling.
wins, then he has 3 major belts.
Right.
He's got the AAA belt and the AEW, and then he'll have the Impact, and then who knows? Like, watch him go to Japan.
A lot of guys are like,
Plus,
you know,
Omega versus Swan sounds awesome.
Omega versus Moose sounds really fucking good. No, I'm sorry.
You talk about guys that got Me Too'd. Moose didn't have a very good run there either.
No, I'd say obviously that's the reason why.
Rich Swann.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say both guys are out of the WWE for, whatever reason, both relating to the speaking out movement. Like I said, that's why I'm not worried about Christian. Christian is here for a reason. And they basically put it out there in the last 2 days between Tuesday and Wednesday.
I just want to put it out there, just for everybody here. Christian has never been Me Too'd. We had Ethan Paige versus Lee Johnson. Don't have to talk about it. We have Scorpio Sky versus Darby Allin. Scorpio Sky turns heel at the end of the match.
I thought he was already heel coming in, but this was the heel turn.
There. They fist bumped before the match, which shows he's not a heel. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, really great spots. This is a really good match. I mean, you can argue like what Scorpio Sky, do from here, but at the same time, at least he does have a new character. So there is that. It's not just, I took a loss, I'm gonna go, sit on my thumb and catering. Like, he's got a new character. Maybe they'll give him an edge. Maybe he'll come back for it. I don't know, but the match was good. That cutter off the tope was
when Darby came through the bottom or whatever, and he caught him with the cutter. That was nice. I hadn't seen that before. I'll just say this: I like Scorpio Sky. I wish they had just went full heel turn and let Scorpio be the heel, Darby be the face, and just be done with it. This is twice that Darby Allin has kind of escaped with the title. Once with Brian Cage, and now with Scorpio Sky. I'm not knocking Darby Allin. I'm just saying that he's escaped a couple of times with the TNT title when he's been on the roads both times.
Have you ever had mice in your home where
Oh, that's why I got cats, motherfucker.
Yeah, but they can, I had mice in my home a couple of years ago, and they can get through the smallest of spots, and you'll think you're smacking a spot with a shoe, and you think it's dead, and then the mouse just pops out from underneath the floor.
Is that Darby Allin?
That's how I think about Darby Allin.
You call that man a mouse?
He's tiny.
Darby Allin would be happy to be smacked with that shoe.
Yeah, no, I know. He's like Chuck Rhodes in Billions. He likes getting beat. So there was one big angle, very big angle, that I did not know until this afternoon, because I managed to go to bed last night without knowing who won NXT and what happened in the main event segment of AEW.
You better than me.
It both happened to me at noon today when I started watching it, and I also watched New Japan Cup. But the Inner Circle, I wouldn't say they really broke up, but MJF formed his own tribe.
They kicked out MJF to have MJF now get his own tribe.
MJF, FTR, Tully Blanchard, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears. And now it's them. It's hard to say where Guevara stands.
No, Guevara's on the...
I think it's the OG Inner Circle versus
the MJF faction, which has yet been named. The Revelation is on Twitter. I kind of like that a little bit. At least it plays with FTR, but we'll figure it out.
Is this not... Listen, guys, I don't want to be the negative guy here.
You didn't like this?
It feels like Jason's always the negative guy. I feel like I've been the negative guy for the last month or so. Is this not super WCW? Why is this so... why are there so many fucking factions full of tons of dudes? Is that why you're watching wrestling?
They do that in New Japan too. It just they don't play into the factions as much.
In New Japan, there is not as much outside interference during matches.
Bullet Club?
There's way more.
I was gonna say, except for Bullet Club and Gato. I mean,
which is a huge faction.
Does Naito's Los Ignorables ever come in and bust up a match?
No, but that is basically established. LIJ doesn't get into LIJ business. If Sonata's out there getting his ass handed to him, sorry, Sonata, that's just what we do.
So you guys are fine with this final segment?
Oh, fucking A, right. If you couldn't have MJF take over the Inner Circle before this whole angle even happened, he kind of planted those seeds where maybe I should have my own faction.
Right.
Here's his own faction.
And I did think that whenever I saw it, and I didn't realize that you had fallen asleep, I thought about looking on your Twitter. I expected to go on Twitter and see Phil say another AEW closing segment with 11 dudes in the ring.
No, I will give you that.
Now, would the hypothetical me have been wrong?
No, not at all.
No, that's what happens with AEW. It's just so many guys in the ring all the time.
This one was actually it made sense. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It was more warranted in the sense that this is a major angle where now
power shift, right?
Well, maybe it is. I would assume so because now MJF's faction should be at least the faction that's going to give Inner Circle some trouble. This was a major angle, so now
it's a major angle for sure. But they're both heels.
No.
Yeah, this was an Inner Circle face turn with Guevara coming back as a face.
Yes, thank you.
And them also not being stupid, them being smart and like.
We already knew what you were doing. Did
you not think we talked between Wednesdays? Like that's a babyface move.
More so, and that was the whole reason why I said
when they said, "Do you think we even talk between Wednesdays?" I thought, man, me, Jason, and Zach don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Oh, you guys might. You guys might.
Bill, watch New Japan on Wednesday. You need to get you up for the podcast.
I will. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'll just say this. For me, this works just for the simple fact that we already planted the seeds beforehand, number one. And now, number two, the whole reason I said that MJF should take over the Inner Circle because the Inner Circle itself was getting stale, and at some point, Jericho needed to be a face. We did both things in one fell swoop at the end. It worked. The only thing I didn't like was Jericho getting bounced on the airbag or whatever. It took a little bit out of it. Outside of that, shit, you can call it what you want to. That shit was slam dunk.
And we get to keep the best faction in AEW. The Inner Circle rules. Like
Inner Circle
awesome.
rules.
Like,
no doubt. I'm with you there. That'll do it for our 3 counts.
1, 2, 3.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was feeling pretty down about wrestling this week. I didn't really like the pay-per-view that much.
Dude, there's so much wrestling going on.
I know, and I fell asleep during Raw, and NXT was pretty good. AEW was pretty good. And then I had a day at work today where I didn't have to be on the phone, so I could just have wrestling going the entire day. And I turned on the New Japan Cup. And guess what? I didn't feel bad about wrestling
I'll say,
anymore at all because
shoot me in the ass with that.
I'm sick of all that American fucking wrestling.
I'll take 2 shots in that New Japan,
Give
please.
me that New Japan wrestling. So let's talk about the New Japan Cup. The first couple matches I watched were Bad Luck Fale versus Yano. Yano found another exciting way to win a countout.
I hate this motherfucker, I swear to God.
You don't really hate Yano, do you?
No, I don't hate him like white supremacists hate him, but I mean, for me, it's like when Yano beat Naito like 2 or 3 years ago, he now is on my radar. Now, Yano cannot get any love on this scenario. We'll talk about him in a little bit with one of the the second biggest upset
we will.
of the tournament so far.
All right, Goto Taichi. What you think, Zach? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, it was a fine match. Like nothing like a big standout. I like both those guys, but it was just kind of a tournament match. I can't even remember who won. Goto?
Yeah.
Goto
which is, I'll say this for me personally, I was a little disappointed because I'm kind of trying to get Tai Chi and Ibushi back into a match where we just get another round of fucking 30 minutes of kicks. You know what I'm saying?
That'll never happen again.
It probably won't because
that was a one-time thing.
You're probably right, but I mean, goddamn, that was so fucking good. Tai Chi and Kota Ibushi need to run it back one more time. I guess that's where I'm going with
Tai Chi and Goto
was good.
Goto's kind of forgotten. He's kind of the forgotten guy that participates in the G1 every year.
That's what I was going to say. When tournament time comes around, Goto comes around.
Yeah, okay. We got Kenta versus Juice. I don't know what Juice's new thing is. Like, what's his thing?
it's the same thing as the flamboyant Juice Robinson. I thought, honestly, I forgot that Juice and Kenta had a little feud going in before everything, went south or whatever the case may be. I like Kenta going over. When everything hopefully goes back to normal, Kenta, Okan, hopefully, I'm rolling my eyes when I say this, but the guys that are going to be the big heels in New Japan are going to get the most vocal discord. You know what I'm saying? Jay White is going to be one of those guys that's going to get a shit ton of boos. Kenta's going to be one of those guys that get a shit ton of boos. So I kind of think that's why Kenta went over here, and then moving forward, I think that's why Kenta is going to be one of those guys in the mid-card that's going to do some damage.
What you think about that match, Zach?
It was good, but it was, unfortunately for them, it was probably good that they were in between, but they were in between my two favorite matches of that show, and also, probably my favorite stuff that I watched this week that was, pay-per-view stuff. Suzuki, Honma, which, I didn't know Honma had it in him, but, they just beat the shit out of each other. And Suzuki went over, obviously. That's kind of a no-brainer, but, Gotch pile driver, which is scary based on Honma's, neck history. But, it was just a great match. And,
you know what it reminded me of was, Nagata and Suzuki, same heel, but different, baby face, where when I came in, I was like, this is not going to be that good. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what? Honma's got a fucking, submission on fucking Suzuki? What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it was bonkers. And then Okada Shingo, which, like I said, last year I voted that as my favorite match of the year. And we had a flip-flop reversal. Now it is Takagi who went over Okada. Okada put him out last time with the money clip, and this time it was Last of the Dragon. So Shingo moves on, and he's still my favorite for the Cup.
It is still unclear what Okada is trying to do, though. Is Okada trying to get the money clip over, or is he trying to get over a guy that's trying to get the money clip over? That's a serious question.
No,
that's really meta. I like that.
I'll answer it the best I can.
But it could be either, though, right?
I think it could be either or. From what Okada has said on backstage comments, is that the money clip is the priority. He wants the money clip to be his finisher, submission or otherwise. The Rainmaker is the safety net, so to speak.
Absolutely insane.
The setup.
It's just absolutely insane.
Which is kind of funny, because now when matches where, who did he wrestle? Shingo or whatever.
Yeah, Shingo.
He tried to put the money clip over, and then the money clip put Shingo down the first time, but didn't put him down the second time.
And then Shingo started rainmaking him.
Right. And that's for me, I was like, really? Shingo's doing the Rainmaker? It almost felt like, this is disrespect to Okada at this point.
But the thing that's so weird about it is that here's a guy that is at the top of his business, might be the best wrestler in the world, arguably the best wrestler in the world, top 5, top 10, no doubt.
Whatever.
And his story, his wrestler's kayfabe story for the last year, or maybe more,
I don't want to do the easy shit no more,
has been trying to get this submission move over that nobody likes, that obviously only he likes, the crowd doesn't like, and he just keeps trying to get that over. That is odd.
He's got 2 slip discs in his back. And
there you go.
New Japan guys, they just go out and wrestle with that shit. So
that was
something to do with it too.
Thank you, Two Beer. I totally forgot about that. That's the kind of the backstory, I guess, behind this going into the New Japan Cup. That Okada was hurt. He's got slip disc. The fact that Shingo Takagi beats him is not even really a big deal. I think more so moving forward is that maybe Okada needs to take a seat for a little bit. We're going to need him to be in this main event scene for the next 6 months, a calendar year. As much as I love Naito, he's not going to be in this main event scene too much longer. Okada's going to be the next guy that's going to do the 5 or 6 years that Naito was already done.
What else did we miss on the New Japan Cup week 1?
Well, we're looking at actually we're looking at this right now. Well, I was going to go with Gabriel Kidd versus who was it? Zack Sabre Jr. Thank you. Okay. This is what I like about the New Japan Cup is that the fact that they're bringing in, a couple of not even juniors, but a couple of young lions, and then you're intermingling them with the lower, middle, and upper card of New Japan and just kind of making it work. The only thing I wish I would have, if there was anything I would change, is that you would get some juniors into it, but I know we just did BSOJ or BOSJ, best of the Super Juniors that don't know. I know we just did that. We just had Wrestle Kingdom where you had Hiromu doing his thing there, and then obviously Desperado taking the title after Hiromu got hurt. It's a lot to try to kind of cram into it. But I think in this scenario, I like the way that they're doing the New Japan Cup. I'm a little disappointed with some of the booking that's going on. I'm not sure how far we're going to go into that just yet because that's going to be definitely a spoiler alert. I'll just say this. I'm looking for Tanahashi to start to get this Neverweight Championship over. If you're going to take away the IC title and marry it into one, there needs to be some movement going forward. That's the Neverweight title, and that's the U.S. title. The U.S. title, I love Moxley, but Moxley's not coming back to Japan soon, so that means the Neverweight title is going to be the number 2 title in play. That's put Tanahashi in the crosshairs. I'm not sure that he beats Jay White in the second round of the New Japan Cup. Even if he does, where does that put the Neverweight title? I mean, this is why I didn't like them breaking up the titles to begin with, because now I'm looking at Tanahashi and I'm looking at him like, I'm going to need you to kind of step up a little bit because you're the number 2 guy. Can Tanahashi do it? Of course he can because he's the ace. But I would be a little disappointed if Jay White lost to Tanahashi instead of beating Tanahashi. And then if he loses the next round after that, then you can come back and have this Neverweight title match and hopefully build it from that point on. But I think a lot of this is making more work for themselves than they really have to do. You didn't have to marry the 2 titles. Do I get it? Yeah, I get it. Do I agree with it? Not so much.
Zach, any other thoughts?
That's as far as I was able to watch. I didn't even get a chance to watch the main event, which was Tenzan and Will Ospreay. I looked at results for
guess
stuff,
what we're watching right now.
Will
Ospreay wins.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Yeah, didn't expect anything less. But I will catch up.
Damn, man. Can you let the man finish?
I thought I just got high.
Jesus Christ.
Say it again, Zach.
I don't even know. I said I will catch up. Yeah. I'm there too.
2, 3.
Dude.
This is banned from
Thank you.
Ringside. All right. So, some odds and ends. The Strowman versus Shane thing is just a fucking mess. You know what? Every single week I write this stuff down. I write down every single segment for regular
God bless you.
WWE.
God bless you.
And every single week I dread it because I don't watch the whole thing and I have to watch it. And then if there's something interesting, I have to watch it.
Lashley is...
No, Lashley's good, but Lashley doesn't show up after the first 30 minutes of Raw, so I just have to write down the rest of Raw. Apparently there's a Shane and Braun Strowman thing going on. We're not watching it.
That was a great question for a dinosaur.
No, it's pretty bad. It's WrestleMania season, so now we're going to get the guys that we haven't seen all year long and guys that I don't want to see, in this case, Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
Braun versus Shane does nothing. Nothing for me.
Randy Orton is still puking.
Coughing up blood.
Black stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't make any sense. Shayna
It makes
Baszler,
sense. I don't care. I don't care.
Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, don't care. Naomi, Lana, don't care. Let's see.
Actually, I want to put a flag.
Dominic Mysterio.
Can I put a flag on Naomi? If there's,
I bet you would want to put a flag on Naomi.
I'll just say this. There is a spot for the Hurt Business that needs a woman.
Well, why would it be Naomi?
Why wouldn't it be? They're both on Raw.
Oh, that's the only thing they have in common?
Well, it's the only thing that, besides that everybody's fucking black, that makes me smile ear to ear. Being on Raw, I'll say this. I wanted Naomi obviously be on SmackDown because of the lineage. She's not on SmackDown. She's on Raw. So, make chicken out of chicken shit. Put her with the Hurt Business.
Let's see. Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin are in a tag team for some reason. Cesaro fought Buddy Murphy. That could have been.
I didn't watch SmackDown on Friday. Buddy Murphy came back?
Yeah, Buddy
nice.
Murphy's back. It still looks like we're going towards Rollins versus Cesaro. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns is happening at Fastlane, which is a week from Sunday. Anything else that we missed of the week of wrestling? We've only been doing this podcast for 2 hours.
Zach's got to top his pubes. I think we're good.
Zach, you good?
I canceled.
Oh, yeah. He was. Did you really?
For us, you shouldn't.
Right.
That's too bad.
This is banned from ringside.
We got some birthdays this week. Mae Young would have been
R.I.P. Don't.
R.I.P. What a sport.
Yeah, and don't
Seriously,
don't fucking disrespect
she
that
would have
shit.
been 98. I'm not going to disrespect. Kenta is 40. Why would you think I would disrespect?
Because
Mae
that's
Young?
you.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, true, but fucked up.
Respecting women all the time.
Both you motherfuckers.
Matt Jackson is 36, but it didn't say that his brother's 36 also. They're twins, right?
Yeah.
Matt Jackson and his brother.
Yeah.
What's his brother's name? Alan?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
One was born at 11:59. The other one was born at 12:01. So.
Smack this man, please.
Santino Marella is 47. Always like Santino.
He was funny.
Iron Sheik, not R.I.P. Still
and
kicking.
Still crowning on motherfuckers on Twitter.
I mean,
that is
the
the ultimate Twitter follow.
Yes,
if you need to get a
funny.
giggle in, Iron Sheik, fucking comedy.
79. Jordan Devlin, the aforementioned, is 31. MJF, the aforementioned, is 25. Samoa Joe is older than me. He's 42.
God damn it.
Test R.I.P. would have been 46.
Is Samoa Joe coming back to wrestling? Can we get a one-off for Samoa Joe?
I don't care. Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts for you guys to listen to.
It's time to go.
We appreciate you guys listening to ours for F&B Eatery.
Check.
For Bill's Beard Company.
Check.
For Vice.
Check. Tinder.
For Tender Mahal.
Yeah. But don't be like for Tinder Mahal. Yeah, you know.
For Two Beard Zach Pullman.
Check.
For Jason O'Neill.
Check.
I am Bill Vagey.
Check.
Everybody, Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local restaurants.
Double check.
Support your local weed dealers.
Triple check.
And never forget to boo the heels.
Boo, bitch.